I asked for and got so many great ideas from investigators really all over the world. And some of these guys I know, and they are just top notch. I asked for ideas of what they wanted to see included in a skip tracing course, and just amazing feedback from a lot of people. And just so many good ideas. I added a lesson on breach data, and I think this kind of incorporates a lot of the different elements that people were talking about that they wanted to see in skip tracing training. For example, this touches on different types of sort of not necessarily being into social media skip tracing, but opening up the idea of what other accounts they might have that you didn't know about, including like dating accounts, gaming accounts, all sorts of things like that. What I've put together here is just a very brief, small portion of the entire lesson. The full lesson is almost 20 minutes long, but this I just cut down to, and it's just, I think, what they call in the movie industry a teaser video. It's just an idea to give you a feel for what I teach and how I teach it in that particular lesson. And really, it's how all the lessons are fleshed out with kind of walking you through step by step, bit by bit, to find more and more information on your skip until you find something that can allow you to locate him or her. Let's take a look at it. This lesson is about breach data. What this is when a company website or database gets breached or leaked or hacked, frequently all the information that is captured eventually comes out online. A lot of times that starts out with the hackers trying to sell it on the dark web. Sometimes it's just given away, but there are researchers who go onto the dark web, gather this information, and then bring it into the open web where they use it as paid services. Now, I would suggest don't try to capture this information yourself on the dark web. It is honestly, forget everything else, just a lot of work to maintain access to the places where this information is breached and offered. You're probably not going to want to pay the fees to get it from there. It's just a hassle to keep your pulse on this world, that world, and try to keep up. It's not worth it at all. Imagine any other database, property records at the county. You're not going down there and asking for a copy every time someone changes buys or sells a house and look and update it. No, you're going to use that data as you need it. It's just easier to go down and get it or get it offline. Okay, same with breach data. The service I'm going to share with you, as far as I know, is legal and ethical. I wouldn't be doing it if I thought it was illegal. And I'm going to take, by the way, this is a case from something I came upon, and it starts a little bit dark. And I just have to do the trigger warning for you. We're going to be talking about abuse of a minor or alleged abuse of a minor, sexually oriented abuse of a minor. And that's what brought to my attention the particular username that I'm going to be walking through this information with to show you all the different things. In the end, I'm not showing you a lot of that user's information that was through the breach data, where you can find name and date of birth and everything. But I do show you how you can find that information and bring about and search by things like email address, username, and flesh out a lot of information. The real value here in the breach information is that it gives you leads to other stuff and lets you know about sources you wouldn't have any other way of knowing about. So imagine a divorce case, for example, where you're trying to serve a husband and you have his email address. And of course, his wife knows about his Facebook account and this and that and the other. But in the breach data, you may find associated with that email address a dating site. Maybe he's still active there. Maybe that's a lead to find him. So let's take a look at breach data, and I'm going to show you a bunch of different interesting things and interesting ways to search that breach data for leads on your case. So here's what originally got my attention for this particular username, for this particular person. So after you create an account and log in, and again, this is a paid site. It's not that expensive. I think it's totally worth it if you work these kind of cases. For starting out with things like maybe just a username and moving on from there. In this case, I do know the subject's name as well, but that could be fleshed out from the username alone if we had to. So let's take a look here. We can type in right here the username that we want to search. You can see we're searching by username, and there's our search button. And here's what comes up. Just a ton of stuff. I mean, I can scroll and scroll and scroll and show you a ton of stuff with this username. Now, if this is a famous person, it wouldn't surprise me if many, many, many unrelated people are using his name or his handle as part of their username for different gaming systems and things like that. Back at the top here, I want to come over here and let's take a look for a moment at this breached gaming data and this hash. This is the hash. Now, what a hash is it's not the password. It's beyond the scope of this lesson to explain exactly what happens, but when a person uses their password, it gets run through an algorithm and hashed so that the system can authenticate. If the hash matches, they grant access to the person. And that way the system doesn't actually have to know the password. In this case, it was breached, and we know that this was the hash. Does that tell us the password? It might be able to, because click to crack, and this is a little more complex. Look, there's the password right there. So that's just a very small taste of what's in the breach data lesson. In the actual lesson, of course, in the paid training, there's nothing blurred. I show you everything, and I walk you step by step through all of it. It is just really a complete training guide, the entire Investigator's Ultimate Guide to Missing Persons and Fugitives. So that's a taste of the breach data lesson. All the lessons are like that, where I bring you right into the computer and show you what I'm doing, how to do it, literally where to click in order to get more and more information about your skip until you can get a good locate. The course is not available right at this exact moment. I'm putting the finishing touches on it, based especially even on some of the feedback I got from all these great investigators. But very soon it will be available at all the details, and I would invite you to check it out over at shadowanyone.com. This is Larry K with Shadow Anyone. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.